We're on the verge of having an Arab-U.S. alliance to take down the Iranian regime. We're on the verge of having an end to the Arab-Israeli conflict because of the bravery of the IDF and the courage of Bibi and Trump.
We're going to talk tonight to U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham about what the president is doing, why he's doing it, and how this is going to change the Middle East forever, in his view, and I do agree with him. Senator Graham and I have known each other for about 15 years, and Iran was the first topic that we ever discussed. And my friend Shannon Bream of Fox News was the first one to connect us. Senator Graham wanted to hear from me about my writings and my speaking about the apocalyptic, genocidal nature of the Iranian regime. That's how we connected. So it was very interesting to spend time with him and to sit down for this conversation. The first question that I asked him is, Senator, how in the world did the United States and Israel find and then decapitate the supreme leader of Iran and his top 50 bloodthirsty, wicked associates? How did that intelligence come together? Take a look at what he said.
Do you think I'm going to tell you that?
Well, I mean, you can give me a hint.
Next question.
Okay, all right. How big a deal is this? I mean, to
Huge.
decapitate...
Biggest, okay, so I talked to the president right after he got elected, before he was sworn in. I said a couple of things. We need to deal with the drug cartels in our backyard differently. He has. You need to blow some stuff up. He did. Yeah. Venezuela. And I said, listen, and the biggest prize in the Mideast was Saudi Arabia, the keeper of the Holy Mosque, Mecca, Medina, to recognize Israel, the Jewish state. That would end the Arab-Israeli conflict. I tried to help President Biden do that, build on the Abraham Accords. And
got close.
October 7th was designed to stop normalization, because Iran's worst nightmare is for the Arabs and the Israelis to make peace. So October 7th is trying to derail that. But I told Trump, I said, listen, eventually somebody's going to have to deal with the mothership of terrorism, which is the Iranian regime. You'll never have a stable world or a stable Mideast as long as they're around. They're committed to jihad. They're committed to being a religious Nazi. So I think he absorbed that. So what happened? Midnight Hammer comes along, and we dramatically obliterate their nuclear program, but they go right back at it. So what have we learned? That no matter what you do, they're going to keep pursuing their agenda. And what is it? To purify Islam, to destroy Sunni Islam and replace it with Shia Islam, to destroy the Jewish state because they're compelled by God to do it, Allah to do it, and the third is to come after us. These are religious Nazis. You couldn't talk Hitler out killing the Jews if you wanted to. He was a nut, but he believed it.
Chamberlain tried. I
tried.
thought he had it.
That's right. So the point is, you got to confront evil.
Yeah.
So here's where we're at. The president decided to call the question on Iran. The negotiations were hitting walls. They were not going to give up their weapons. They have a religious agenda, and it doesn't include me and you.
And Steve Witkoff just told Sean Hannity that they bragged that they have enough highly enriched uranium for 11 nuclear weapons.
Yeah. Well, they bragged about cheating. And so they've been cheating all these years, and they were dumb enough to say it. So what did Trump do? He called the question. Working with Israel, we have decapitated. The mothership of terrorism is Iran. It's sinking, and the captain is dead. We've got to finish the job. So we're going to continue to pound the infrastructure that will allow the regime to intimidate the people. People ask me what happens next. I don't know. It's up to the Iranian people. It's not my job or your job to rebuild Iran. It's our job to help if they want us to. But whatever they do is going to be better than what we had. If they want to go back down the jihad road, we'll deal with them like we did in the past. I don't think they do. I don't think people are out in the streets getting killed by the 30,000 plus to have more jihad, more Ayatollah. So, but once the regime falls, it's not if, it's when. It's just when it falls, it's not if it falls. Then I'm going to turn my attention to taking up where we left off, trying to get Israel and Saudi Arabia to recognize each other, which would be the end of the Arab-Israeli conflict, the biggest prize on the planet. And as to President Trump, he's done something other presidents wouldn't do. They talked about Maduro, he did it. They talked about the Ayatollah, he did it. So God bless President Trump, and pray for him and pray for our friends in Israel.
Today, nearly 99% of Israelis don't yet know Jesus. Think about that. Nearly 99% of Israelis don't yet know Jesus. But a miracle is unfolding. One for Israel is a ministry that shares the gospel. And I can tell you, Jewish people are starting to accept Jesus in numbers not seen since the early church. Many Arabs are also finding faith and unity. One for Israel is an initiative of native-born Israelis sharing the gospel, discipling believers, and equipping spiritual leaders across Israel. As Romans 10:1 expresses, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they may be saved. Your support helps bring the gospel back to Israel. I want you to do something right now. Pick up the phone and call 800-892-9065. That's 800-892-9065 to help share the gospel in Israel. Visit oneforisrael.org/partner or scan the QR code. I also asked the senator, since the Vietnam War, is there another regime, is there another world government and military that has killed, maimed, and wounded more Americans than the Iranian regime?
Absolutely not. They have American blood on their hands, and it goes way back, since 1979. So in 1983, Ronald Reagan sent Marines and sailors to try to get involved in the Lebanese Civil War. They were at the end of the runway.
To establish peace and
right,
security,
yeah, try to be
ideally.
trying to be a stabilizing force, right. A good thing.
Yeah.
Well, Hezbollah attacked the Marine barracks, killed 220 Marines, 18 soldiers, and as much as I love Ronald Reagan, and I did, and I do, he withdrew. And he never avenged the fallen. So Hezbollah is now back
Seems very much out of character for him,
it does.
didn't it?
Hezbollah is back in the fight. So I'm urging President Trump to get involved, partner with Israel to go after Hezbollah. They're the largest proxy of Iran. They have a lot of American blood on their hand, the Marines and the sailors. And I want to avenge these guys. I want it to be known, if you kill an American, we never forget. So what is this all about? Saudi Arabia is the center of gravity of Islam. It's where the two holy mosques are. And MBS has taken a change and a turn that I didn't see coming, but I'm glad he did. Yeah. Women can drive. Women are in the workforce. Things are changing in Saudi Arabia. They want to build out their economy, not restrict it. You can't be the center of AI and be the center of jihad. So he, MBS, MBZ, and UAE have charted a different path. It's in our interest for them to succeed. Nothing would be more game-changing in the Mideast than if Saudi Arabia could actually recognize the Jewish state.
Right.
And I think that's possible. This would be President Trump's biggest legacy of all if he could take down the Ayatollah's mothership of terrorism and get peace between Saudi and Israel. That would put him in a league of his own.
Probably the most important question that I asked Senator Graham was, now what? Where do we go from here? Okay, the war is raging, but when the smoke clears, where are we going, right? What happens? I asked him specifically, how will a complete and decisive American and Israeli victory over the Iranian regime and the destruction of all of their offensive military and terror capabilities, how will that change the Middle East and improve the security of the American people, American allies, and American interests, and advance American interests in the Middle East going forward, particularly my interest in, is there a possibility for a real, true, sweeping, and transformational peace deal between the United States, Israel, and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia?
If you want MBS, which I do, to recognize Israel, he's going to have to do it in a way not to get killed.
Yeah.
They want a defense agreement with the United States.
Right.
Which means that we would go to war if they're attacked,
right,
like any other defense agreement. How do you sell that? 50 Republicans would do it because Trump thought it was a good idea and Bibi thought it was a good idea. You're not going to get any Democratic votes unless you have some answer to the Palestinian problem. And you're never going to solve the Mideast until you have some answer to the Palestinian problem. Before October the 7th, things were different. After October the 7th, the space in Israel for a two-state solution has really shrunk. The ability of MBS to recognize Israel after Gaza is really shrunk. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to, one, eliminate the mothership of terrorism, Iran, then sit down and have hard conversations among ourselves. I do not expect Israel to create a Palestinian enclave or state that can ever generate another October 7th. Who would want that? But to expect MBS to recognize Israel without some accommodation for the Palestinians is not going to happen. He would literally get killed. So how do you do this?
I'm hearing that he's only asking for a clear and credible pathway.
Well,
but that is still difficult for anybody, even on the left in Israel, to say right now.
It's difficult, but life is difficult.
Okay.
All I can say is that support for Israel is down, not up.
Yeah.
Israel in the international community is at its lowest point. Support for Israel is shrinking here. If a Democrat got involved, they're antagonistic to Israel. If I were Israel, I would do this deal and solidify my relationship with the United States and Saudi Arabia while I can.
While you have President Trump in the
While
driver's
you've
seat.
got a friend.
Yeah.
And if you let this moment pass, you're going to regret it. I'm not asking Israel to commit collective suicide. I'm not asking Israel to...
No, but it would be, as we say, okay, the premise of my question was, hey, after October 7th, the world has changed, we're on defense. And your answer is essentially, after February 28th, the top leadership of the worst enemies of Israel are gone, so the world has changed again. We can make new choices.
We've changed it again. The only reason we didn't do normalization with Saudi is because of October 7th. Now, October 7th was generated by Iran and Hamas to stop normalization. That's the fear of the Iranian regime. Well, they're no more. Hamas will soon be no more.
Right.
Iran's terrorist state will soon be replaced. You take that off the table, then you need to go back and think, okay, what's the best way for sustainable peace? Is to have a relationship with MBS that's economic, that's normal, have embassies, do business with Saudi Arabia, have common defense architecture. That protects Israel more than any single thing I could think of. The antidote to Israel's problems in the future is regional integration, where the Arabs accept Israel, not try to destroy Israel. Now, he's got to get something too. The Palestinian cause is, Democrats are not going to vote for a treaty unless there's something for the Palestinians. Sure. And that's just a fact. And what that something is a subject to negotiation. What can BB do that's enough for MBS? Maybe they can't get there, but I know this, Trump's your guy. Yeah. And I'd like to do a defense agreement with Israel. We don't have one. I'd like to make sure going forward that no matter who's in the White House, we have a defense agreement with Israel pledging our support, because I worry about the future of the Democratic Party when it comes to Israel. Yeah. The best thing for Israel is to sign a defense agreement with the United States while Trump is president, lock that relationship in as a treaty, and also to end the Arab-Israeli conflict, do an agreement with Saudi Arabia where they recognize the Jewish state. It just blows my mind that the center of Islam, Saudi Arabia, is open to recognizing the Jewish state.
It is extraordinary.
That is extraordinary.
I also had to ask Senator Graham, how does he respond to the accusations by Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, Nick Fuentes, the neo-Nazi, and others, that President Trump was dragged into this war with Iran by Prime Minister of Israel, Bibi Benjamin Netanyahu, and the Israeli people? That is becoming such an accusation with such intensity. The president was asked this, Marco Rubio was asked this week, and I had to ask Senator Graham for his response as well. Was President Trump dragged into this?
This narrative that the Jews are a problem for Christians and Americans is really anti-Semitism at its heart, that the Jewish people are a problem, that the Jewish people get you in trouble. No, Jewish people are chosen by God. I believe God blesses those who bless Israel. I believe that, you believe that. So what is this all about? These people around in the 30s, Father and Coughlin, stay out. You know, what happens in Europe doesn't matter to us. Hitler's not our problem until it was. So anytime a force comes along that wants to destroy people because they're different, you'll eventually feel it. He wanted to kill all the Jews, Hitler did. He wanted a master Aryan race. Nobody believed him, they should have. They had a chance to stop him, they didn't. Iran wants to purify Islam, destroy Saudi Arabia, take over the faith, destroy the Jews, and come after us. So here's what I would say to that element. They have their head in the sand. In their world, there are really no evil people. No. In their world,
except Jews and Christians who love Jews.
Right, that's right, yeah. Except Bibi and Trump.
Right.
The truth of the matter is, if the Ayatollah had a nuclear weapon, he would use it as part of his religious agenda. If he could hit America with a ballistic missile, he would. I believe that. Hitler told everybody what he wanted to do, and they ignored him. Trump, to his credit, believed the Ayatollah, and the Ayatollah is no more. So when you hear these people saying, don't get involved, that's what they said in the 30s. And by the time we got involved,
it was far deadlier, right? Far more expensive.
50 million people died, maybe 100, because we didn't confront evil. God has commanded us as Christians to be faithful to Israel. I'm going to be faithful to American foreign policy interest, and Israel is the best ally you could hope for. They do all the fighting and then some. They ask for our help as a last resort. They've never asked for one American soldier to go in on the ground. They're a godsend to the American defense infrastructure. They provide us technology we couldn't develop ourselves. Israel is a very big plus for America. The people that want to destroy the Jewish state also want to destroy me and you. If you're a Christian, the Ayatollah considers you an infidel, and he would destroy you. He would destroy our faith. If you're a Sunni Arab, he would destroy your faith. Hitler wanted to purify the world. He wanted a master race. Why people think this, I don't know. The Ayatollah wants a master religion. So does Al-Qaeda, so does Hezbollah. So here's what I think is happening. We're on the verge of having an Arab-U.S. alliance.
That's amazing.
To take down the Iranian regime. We're on the verge of having an end to the Arab-Israeli conflict because of the bravery of the IDF and the courage of Bibi and Trump. Bibi and Trump are the Churchill-Roosevelt combination for modern times. Roosevelt and Churchill destroyed evil of their day. Trump and Bibi are going to do the same thing. And out of all this chaos, and we've lost 6 soldiers and maybe more, a new dawn is going to break in the Mideast. With the sinking of the mothership of terrorism, Iran, all things become possible. No more October 7th. No more threats of October 7th. We'll allow Israel to make different decisions. So pray. Pray that we see it through and get it right. I've never been more excited and hopeful than I am right now. Trump's been the president I've been dreaming for all my life. Somebody that understands evil is bad, confront it while you can. He is a very smart, complicated, simple man. He came to believe that the Ayatollah was never going to give up his ambitions, that we would be...
I appreciate he tried.
He tried.
Gave him a chance.
Right? And through giving a chance.
He's not an itchy trigger finger.
Not
He
at
really
all.
gave him a chance.
He gave it
Twice.
a yeoman effort to get, right, a real effort for peace. But the point is, there's no deal to be done when the person on the other side wants to burn your house down, rape your wife, and kill your kids because they're nuts. There are evil. If you believe in good, you have to believe in evil. If you believe in God, there's the devil. There's wickedness in this world. And wickedness personified in the Iranian regime. It was the ultimate wickedness. It wanted to kill people because they're different. 30,000 people killed simply because they wanted a better life. A 16-year-old girl taken off a bus and stoned to death, beat to death, because she didn't wear the scarf right. And all I can say is not if this regime falls, it's when. And when it falls, I'm going to do everything I can to achieve the big prize, normalization. Stay tuned, pray.
It is dark, it is rainy, and it is chilly here in Washington, D.C., but there are dark clouds over the Middle East tonight as we are watching the most consequential war in the history of the Middle East since May of 1948, when Israel was prophetically reborn, starting on May 14th, 1948, and the War of Independence that followed. We've literally never seen something as consequential, as dramatic as what we're watching now. And I do believe that this is going to change the Middle East forever. I agree with Senator Graham on that. I'm not exactly sure if Graham and President Trump can persuade the leaders of Israel to make a deal with Saudi Arabia. Generally, I'm bullish on that relationship. I think at some point a deal will be struck, but I have to say that there is nobody in Israel after October 7th that wants a Palestinian state. I mean, almost nobody, even on the left. I've talked to Yair Lapid, I've talked to Benny Gantz, who's a centrist, and others, certainly Naftali Bennett and Prime Minister Netanyahu, and all of them are united, even though they disagree on so many other things, they're united in being against a sovereign Palestinian state. But Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is insisting that's what he needs. Not the state being created yet, but a credible pathway to a Palestinian state, demilitarized, de-radicalized, and then he needs to hear the Israelis say it in order for him to be able to deliver a peace treaty and not get assassinated or overthrown or create all kinds of chaos. Can any Israeli leader do it? That is a huge question. And Senator Graham is very bullish. You heard that. I have been bullish, but I'll just say I think the jury's out right now. Yes, October 7th changed everything for Israelis, but it's a little too early to say that February 28th, the decapitation of the wicked terrorist Iranian regime has changed everything. I think it has. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it hasn't settled into the Israeli psyche yet. We're not at that point. We've still been under tremendous attack by Iranian missiles and terror drones, suicide drones, and so forth. So it's gonna take some time. But Senator Graham said, you heard him, like, if there's anybody that can persuade the Israeli people and the Israeli leadership that February 28th has changed the region forever for the good, and now you can make a deal with the Saudis, it would be President Trump. So let's keep praying, let's keep watching, and we'll certainly keep covering this on the Rosenberg Report.